This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boatyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. For great food, it's Your Choice Family Restaurant of Wayland, Iowa. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Try the John Bain sandwich on your next visit. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snowblowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. CW Tree Trimming, LLC. We're into your trees, not your wallet. Serving all of Henry County and the surrounding area, and we offer a senior citizen and veteran discount. Dutch Market and Coffee Talk of Washington, Iowa. Dutch Market can handle all of your grocery needs. They even have a conference room that you can use for free. Coffee Talk's drive-thru is open and ready to serve you coffee, energy drinks, sandwiches, baked goods, and ice cream. They all present the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
Thank you, announcer Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for your golden pipes and wonderful introduction. It's Wednesday night, October 8th, and I'm out front of Winfield, Iowa City Hall, where inside the City Council held their regular session meeting. They were busy, and there was quite a bit on the agenda. A few highlights include Departmental Reports, Public Forum, Control Board Joint Agreement, that's the City of Winfield and Scott Township, just to name a few. Let's get you inside for the meeting.
All right, got 5 o'clock. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone to the Winfield City Council meeting. It is October 8th. Is there an approval for our agenda? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Is there an approval for the consent agenda? That includes bills and minutes from September 10th as well as September 24th special session meetings.
And I did need a few extra bills that will come in today for you guys to approve as well. That's the extra piece that was in there. Yep.
All
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries as well. Departmental reports, Mr. JR, you're first on the agenda.
The bridge south of town, our gas line move, it will be done tomorrow. It's under pressure test now. It'll stay that way overnight and they'll finish it up. I did get agreement on reimbursement all signed off. On the wastewater, I did finally get a hold of Nexum on the air pumps out there that aren't running the header pressure that they're designed for, and we've had some communication back and forth. I think right now there's a little bit of a misunderstanding, so I'm waiting for a response from them. And our unmetered water in Houston, in the garage, so I did meet with him and put him on 30-day notice. And there was a bill in here and a check to get me signed up to get my testing done for my grade 2 SAPs. And other than that, it was a busy month. A lot of stuff going on. The storm sewer down here above your house, the line running south when we got it uncovered, it was full. And when we got about halfway down, it had a small basketball stuck in it. So we ended up
From
having
the
to pay.
daycare. It was not from my house. He brought it, I looked at it, it was not mine. I'm like, that is not mine.
I took it back to her. I said, "It's all back."
It was not
So,
mine. It probably went in there.
so it ended up being a little bit more of a project than I expected, but it's all replaced and it's put together correctly, so I don't think the ball will fit in there. If it fits in there, it's gonna flush out. So.
Yeah. And the grass seed's growing already. Well,
Yeah.
ours is.
Yeah, yours is, somebody else's.
We've been watering.
And I'm not gonna do Deb's yard, I met with her and spoke to her, I think it needs to settle first. She would like to have had it fixed, but she understood.
When's the next testing opportunity for you on that grade 2?
We'll send this, the request in with the check, it'll take about 10 days for them to get back to me.
Okay, it's not, it's,
They
It's-
offer me 3 or 4 dates.
gotcha.
I think it should go through in time. I thought we had to have it done by October 1st, it's actually October 31st. I give you 6 months, it's actually a year, but they know people drag their feet. We should be okay. As long as I pass.
Yeah. Okay, library, I think they're scheduled for a meeting on the 13th. Has anyone heard anything different to that?
I told her, or I asked her, I don't know, Patty, do you know, are you guys still planning on meeting on
We're
Monday?
meeting on Monday.
Okay. I mean, last night I talked to Jack, and they were still planning on meeting, and then, she didn't know if she was gonna come in or call in,
Okay.
depending on if she had a ride. And I didn't have a report from her, so.
Eddie, those are typically at noon, right?
What?
Those are at noon, correct? Typically?
Yeah.
Okay. I think David was planning to go to that one, but I'll try.
Does it have school?
No,
Okay.
I don't think they have school that day.
Yeah, he said it didn't, so he can go.
yeah, so I might try to make it as well.
I can't imagine we have a lot to discuss if Jackie's not there.
I think probably the biggest thing is just making sure everything's moving the right way on the new building. Okay. Police report? You have anything to add?
Not much to add, it's all there on paper, but, yeah, probably the busiest 30 days that I think Winfield's seen in a long time, probably. The last calls for service sheet had like 3/4 of a page, and this one has 4 pages, so that tells you how busy, I've been, but, I did wanna bring up, the possibility of putting a camera fire station to overlook the sand volleyball courts. We had 2 more instances where if there was one there, we could've, burglary was one. A lady's stuff was strung all over by the sand volleyball court, so that would've helped. And then if you remember last year, there was that suspicious vehicle that tried to kidnap one of the kids in town. So I did, talk to the IT guy at the school, Zach. He gave me a recommendation of what to get, and he said that he would help me install it if we can work that
I have 2 more cameras ordered,
out. Okay,
one for wastewater and the other one was gonna be for the pool, but maybe in the off season for the pool. They gotta be relocated,
okay.
just a thought.
He knows that we can tap into the Wi-Fi, I think the library has Wi-Fi, right? So there's just a little box that, for this anyway, I think it was gonna be like $700 to probably put one, that would have, I think he said license plate recognition, you could zoom in and actually see things pretty crystal clear. And that's what it would-
Is there a subscription fee?
Nope, no, it's just a one-time deal.
Gotcha.
And then I could get that to be put on my work phone, where I could just,
Pull it up if
pull it
need
up
be.
anytime I need to. So,
And it records.
yeah,
Nice.
I think it's like an extra $40 to get like a terabyte of info. So, I mean, we can discuss that further, because I just wanted to bring it to your attention, that it'd be nice to have in that area. I know that there's a lot of kids that play there. That's kind of the central location in town, so I think it makes sense.
Yeah, that far, the ones that I get would probably be a little crazy, going that far. So
Sounds like his or her.
it's
More
maybe
powerful.
better, yeah.
Now, that is something we could use the ICAP grant money for. We get $1,000 a year. We've already used it for this year, so it depends on if we're going to wait till after the first of the year or not.
That's a calendar, not a,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, so.
let's add it to the November agenda then. Okay.
Good.
Anything else?
No, I have been working on the ordinance things. I think talking face to face with people helps. And I've even offered a hand to, one of them I spoke to yesterday, she was actually shocked that I showed up to help her unload some of the tin. So I think that was
Okay. Clerk report, or anyone have questions for Scott? Clerk?
So not a whole lot besides what's on there, working on the fiscal year and reporting, which there's 5 different reports that are due on December 1st. The youth group, I did talk to them and they did do some weed maintenance down at the commons not this past weekend, the weekend before. Just a reminder about the wiener roast, so anybody that can help, it's from 4:30 to 6, but people could be there a little bit early to help set up and tear down. I did a little bit of research on solar speed signs. They range anywhere from 3,000 on up, but that's not something we can use the ICAP grant for because it's not really a safety for our employees and stuff, so. And then reminder that new training requirements will be expected for newly elected officials. And then just my regular monthly reports. And that's all I got.
You know, as re-elected officials, you
No.
do that, it's just brand new.
Yeah, so if you're re-elected, it's not a requirement.
Okay.
They highly suggest it, but it's not a requirement.
Okay.
It's a recommendation, right?
for the speed sign. I do have something off of there is a GTSB grant. I think it I can't remember when it starts up.
I did see that one.
I know Jeff used to get items like for the car through that. And I did speak with Henry County and you are able to use it for like speed trap type things.
Okay.
So that may be something that I look into for sure.
Great. I didn't think one of those radar signs would be that expensive.
I think
That's
they're-
for a solar panel one.
Which is what I was thinking would be a good one to put on there.
Me too. Okay. Any special committee reports? Anything from the swimming pool that we need to discuss? Alright, next item is public forum. Public forum is the opportunity for members of the public to present their opinions to the city council. I just ask when you make your statements to keep them 5 minutes or less. I'll kind of give you a warning that you're getting close. Are there any statements from the public? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Next item is the control board joint agreement, City of Winfield Scott Township. Revisiting some of our discussions that we had last month. Members from the township board, what I want to share that came to light was we as a city were unaware that we own part of the property. When we were last audited, was it not this last audit, the year before, our auditor had some very strong findings against us of why are we funding for a property that's outside of city limits. That caused us to be more and more interested in what is our agreement, what is out there. I think it probably would have helped why we're funding something outside of town, knowing that we own part of the property, for one. I guess we have probably 2 different directions we could go as a city and as a joint agreement agreement with both of you. One is, you know, if you want full control and don't really want any input from the city, the city could look at just surrendering our rights to the property. Another way we could go is working together and being a joint agreement, you know, and that's probably a decision jointly that we need to make on what's the direction we want to go. That's, in all fairness, where we are at, and I appreciate the board coming to be here.
Well, we worked on the new agreement, and we're happy with the agreement if you're willing to work it. But if you guys decide to step out, you still need to honor the old agreement and pay the control board, so then we can disband the control board, and then we need to decide, then you guys need to discuss how we either handle your share of the ownership, either you need it run it over to us, or what. I mean that's, we were happy with the agreement since 1946, Patty looked it up. So.
Yeah, I think due to how long it had been since those had been discussed, caused a lot of questions from.
Well, I didn't know, and I've been on the committee the longest.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody that did it was dead, so.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but.
So members of the council, thoughts, points? Did I misspeak any of my opinions? I'll start with there.
I don't know, I'm fine with whatever anybody wants to decide, but I guess my only feeling is just anytime there's tax dollars moving one way or another, there needs to be a really solid accounting. And I brought that up in regards to other things completely separate from the cemetery board. And I mean, as long as we know where the money's going and why and what it's being spent on, I mean, if the city is responsible for property out there, then we're responsible for property out there.
And when we look at, as a township trustee board, when we look at submitting our proposal to the county for monies that we can pay our half, we take a look at just the mowing for the half from you. Okay, there's other responsibilities that we have. That's, and what we try to do is make sure that the mowing gets paid with our equals money, and then extra stuff we go, we pay from the county. So, and we've done this for years. We submit each year a budget, and we half it for the mowing, what we take a look at. Right now, this new proposal set up with a certain amount attached to it, but we look at every January that see how much. So if we feel that didn't mow as much one year as the next, we can adjust. But right now, the way it's set right now, it's a set amount.
So mowing is probably your biggest expense by far.
Yes.
Okay.
Replacing a stone or a stone base, that, as far as a chunk gets into a large amount of money, that's why we, when we talk to the county, the ask for that is a little bit larger, so we can build up. So if there's a historic marker, historic grave stone that has fallen, we can take care of that if we can't find the relatives.
to why it's named in like 3 different names.
What do you mean?
So like the parcel that like, say we own, has a name of Town of Winfield and Scott Township?
Well,
The
the
first
first one is, it must be a shared.
Okay, so Town of Winfield, Scott Township. Then the second parcel, the bigger chunk, is Town of Winfield. Then the biggest chunk is Scott Township. And then there's a little strip that's also Scott Township. And then there's the new section. It's the Board of Control Winfield Scott Township Cemetery. So there's like 5 parcels, and they all kind of have different people listed as owners. And so I didn't, like, do we know how that came about?
I looked it up, it was 1946, and I'm sorry I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Yeah. Well, the answers are in the cemetery.
Well.
I mean, we don't know. Nobody, that story, nobody knows, but I've never.
Why the township was the owner versus the.
Hopefully, we can safely assume that at certain times, maybe some parcels were bought and given over, and the ownership would be given over to the city or to the township trustee.
Well, and I think based on the date of the graves, they were not developed, and then they added the next row, and they added the next row. Now, the county attorney and your male city attorney, they're doing a title search.
They
They
did.
did.
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
And now it's
So
changed
now you
on,
have that answer.
it's changed on the beacon now.
Oh, okay.
Cause it was different on the beacon last month when we looked at it.
Oh, okay.
So you have been on Beacon, so you do know what the names of the different sections
Yeah, that's what
were.
she, that's what I,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what
right.
she's saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I thought Willie didn't know there was a different in ownership in the cemetery.
Prior to last month, we had no idea that the city even owned any property out there.
Seriously?
That's
Yeah.
what we've been telling you all along.
We
At the meeting.
No,
At the
we didn't.
meeting.
No, we never.
told you that in
Yes.
24,
Yeah.
when you said it was a donation, I said, no, you own the cemetery.
It is not.
Yes,
No.
yeah, so, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know you didn't, I mean,
Yeah, cause I mean.
I got on Beacon and looked after you made that comment in 24, just to double check myself, and it's all written right there on Beacon.
Well, yeah, but I had never looked on the beacon to
Oh.
know that we had ownership until last month when Fred had put something saying that we have to figure out how you guys are gonna take care of your portion of the cemetery, and that was the first time I noticed it on the beacon.
Yeah.
And then when we did the title search, that's when they've changed it to the 5 different parcels now.
And I believe the attorney suggested we get it all into one, regardless. it needs
Listed
to be
as a control board, you mean?
Listed to one entity,
Yeah.
whatever that is, one
Right, right,
entity should
right.
probably.
We tried to investigate which is the best one. but
Mm,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah.
sense
No, I'm
in
just
my
saying.
uninformed opinion.
Mm.
I think one of the concerns we had as a city, when we looked at the control board bylaws, I'm just gonna share this one paragraph and talk about it a little bit, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Is the maintenance requirements and responsibilities. As a non-perpetual cemetery, every lot owner is responsible for their burial lot, including seeding, cleaning, repairing of stones. Yeah, that's fine. The city is responsible for maintaining the cemetery roadways. The specifications are no green grass or weeds on the gravel and no gravel pushed into the grass. Snow removal will also be the city's responsibility as needed for burials. I think the city's more than willing to cooperate with snow removal. It's just, I'm not sure if we're willing to do all of the maintaining year round on the
In the
gravel.
past, we pay for the gravel, you pay for, you just grade it.
Okay,
I mean, that's.
And we even bought a box grader.
Yeah, we
The-
provided the city with the box
Last
grader.
time you guys were in here, I said, let me know when you want the gravel
Yeah,
and take
yeah,
care of it.
yeah, and then you bill us, then the trustees for this.
But I'm uncertain how to get rid of the grass out of it, because if I go through there, it's gonna fall on like that for a while.
Well, it's something we gotta start in the spring and work our way out.
Right.
Well, the other thing is though, you guys buy the gravel, but it's still, our guys are still we're still donating his time and
Mhm.
whoever's
It's still
time.
tax dollars, it's getting spent.
Right.
Mhm.
And so, So it was one of the things that if the money is where we wanna go with, we don't. The council talked like they weren't sure that they wanted to keep the maintenance of the roads as the responsibility of the city. Right, am I wrong? Is that not what you can first?
Yeah, that was the way I underlined it,
Right.
was an area of concern. I guess I would be open, because I would just wanna know what the time commitment is, you know?
It can't be that big much.
How-
Right,
Are-
down roads,
are we
roads
doing
twice
it
a year.
Often, or is it once a year thing, or?
Usually, you know, if it snows and there's a burial that comes up, we would call.
And we are respectful of that.
And that would be, you know,
Yeah,
and
that-
maybe if it gets really, really high or whatever, I mean, usually during the winter time, it's not that much.
I don't have any concern.
And as far as gravel, I mean, maybe in the spring, one time just to smooth it out and get everything.
If it rains like,
Or-
the city section, I guess you would call it, it washes the worst, cause it's out on the hillside, I guess you would call
I
it.
mean, and, you know, if there's maybe a funeral that's coming up, just take a look at it. If not, don't worry about it. I mean, those are the kinds of things we were talking about and what we've done in the past.
I've always graded the snow out there, even if you don't ask. Nobody in town's gonna complain that I go do that one thing,
But no, I mean, it's,
I mean,
twice a year, maybe twice, 2 or 3 times, if needed. I mean, like I said, if we get a hard pouring rain and it washes out, and we got ruts in that in section 1, yes. I mean, then you only have to do section 1, more likely, so.
I mean, and if it becomes a big concern, what you can do is bill us and then we figure it into the, into the January.
We can take care of it.
Your thoughts on that?
I'm okay with that. I mean, my concern is getting the whole process started.
Oh, yeah.
Getting the grass out. When Patty talked to me before on it, I went out and mowed it, because if I'd have done it that summer, it would have looked really
Well, we
good.
need to start it early and
Yeah,
it needs to be
early.
probably sprayed
So you probably
early.
need to kill it off first.
Yeah,
If we get it in spring before it starts greening up.
yes.
And get that hump out of the center of it. And
Can't lose a hump too, because then don't people fall off the hump and fire into the center. Been there, seen that.
It's probably the first time getting it graded down, it'll take us some time, but after that, we maintenance it once or twice a year, probably back up. I'm telling you, the first time, it's probably takes,
It'll take a little bit, yeah.
Well, we probably need some gravel, cause it's been a while.
most likely, once it is graded down, it may need some gravel spread on it.
Okay, I've been all out of talking. Any questions or discussion items from city council members?
I think the first thing that we need to think about is simplifying the whole deal. Cause having 4 different, like, that's why.
Just
Having
owners of-
5 different
Oh,
lots
oh,
with
okay.
4 different, like.
See, and that's where the control board come in.
Somebody
It is
needs to
con-
have responsibility for
Right.
all of it, and that's
Yeah.
the cemetery, and it's the whole thing.
That's what the
and
control
done.
board is.
See, that's what the control board was
Right,
formed to do.
But.
I understand, but I'm saying,
Ownership.
instead of having the township own part of it and the city own part of it, it all needs to go to one entity legally, and then an agreement can be made as far as what the city can do for whatever that entity is, as far as financially or maintenance or whatever. But we've got way too many cooks, and it's gonna spoil the sauce, is what I'm saying, so.
Well, because the control board didn't exist, let's be honest.
What?
The control board didn't really exist.
When?
I was on the city council for 3 years before we ever had a cemetery meeting. 3 years.
Yeah, we never did anything extra.
But the control board still needs to meet to go over everything.
I understand.
So I'm just
But you also-
saying, we keep talking about this is how we've done it in the past, this is how we've done it in the past, and the control board, now you're all like, oh, the control board's supposed to do that, but in the past, the control board never did anything. The trustees did it, but the control board wasn't involved. It wasn't until the last 4 years maybe, that we've even had meetings on a regular basis.
Well, when, before you came along, Mr. Roderick was on, and we had meetings quite often then, because we had issues.
So then there was just a sabbatical from it.
Well, COVID came around along in 20, I believe. A lot of things didn't happen for about 2 years in there. And I don't know, business went on as business. Nothing changed. We had a meeting, if you remember right, you never made it out to it, but the one where we decided to open up section 4.
That's right. And that
Yeah.
was a.
But I'm just
spur of the
saying,
moment meeting, like
there-
the day-
usually
There was decisions to be made, and that's why we called it.
unless there was changes, I mean, I've been on for 30 years. Unless there was changes, the control board hardly, I'm talking back to Verna and all that. I was probably on 2 or 3 years before I knew there was trees. There was gonna be a big expense out at the cemetery we need to remove. We met with the city council members and I said, why are we doing this? And they said, well, this is a control board. And we need to ask the city for some more money. And that's what it was. Otherwise, it was business as usual, and that's the way it was left. Yes, a lot of things got left alone, but that's the way it is. And like you said, we never knew about the agreement either, so I just knew it was something that happened.
That's right, so when we're talking about the control board, I guess what's been coming to light is we need to run as a control board. Because we've said that at the meeting there, but we have people to answer to. The 3 of us that are on your control, on that control board, have to answer to this group, okay? You guys don't have to answer to anybody on a daily basis. There's nobody, yes, you have to go to the county supervisors and ask for your money and show what you spend it on, for sure. But if you make a decision, you don't have to tell anybody else that you made that decision. And so what we're saying is, if we're gonna stay in an agreement, if we're gonna do all of this, then there has to be a control board that runs it and not just the trustees telling everybody what's going on. Like, we need
but
to have.
That's in the new agreement that you wrote up, I believe.
I did not write it
Darren stated.
up. I typed
You were
it.
there,
That
you
was
were
it.
there, you were helped to write it up.
So I'm just saying that I think that's been part of the biggest frustration is things aren't running along with this. That's why this was brought back up, because the old agreement from 78, nothing was being done on that was what was in that agreement.
Well, payments.
Huh?
And payments and mowing, that's all that was done.
Right, but then the other parts of the agreement, nothing was followed.
Yeah.
Because everything was going
going
along okay until something comes up, and then
We didn't
had a
have any
control board
problems,
meeting.
and obviously you didn't have any problems till 2 years, a year and a half ago, so.
Well, I don't know that it wasn't that we had any problems, we just.
Well, if you had questions, all you
We're
had to
not
do
allowed
was
to
bring it
make a meeting, we're not allowed to call the meeting, so we have to wait for you guys to decide to
Well, you
have a
can-
meeting.
up. But you gotta ask. You've never been afraid before.
Okay,
What is? It's a fact.
yeah.
I think what Jen's wanting or sharing is we just want to.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, and then if we're using taxpayer dollars from city citizens, we need to have documentation of what that money's going for and why we are using taxpayer dollars for that purpose, you know. So one of the conditions I think that was in here was a budget of what the year's gonna be, you know. And then last year, what, like you have here, where the money went and what the balance of the account is. That's just the simple aspect on an annualized basis that we wanna do if we're gonna move forward with an agreement like this.
We have no problem with that, it's just, like I said, you go back 5 years, the last 5 years after COVID, during COVID, things got a little lax. This ain't the only committee I've been involved with, things got lax in and it didn't happen, so.
And unfortunately, we're just in a situation where we can't be.
I understand.
You know, I realize that's the way it has been. It's just a different world when we're dealing with taxpayer dollars.
Well, and even the trustees are supposed to meet no less than 2 times a year, and according to the Iowa legislation of trustees, of townships, I should say, of township trustees, so there should be meetings and things should be discussed. So,
The only other thing I would add is, it makes zero sense to sign any agreement that is in effect in perpetuity. Any 2080 agreement between anybody has to be revisited periodically. It's the same thing with the fire department. It's the same thing with the school in the city. And it either has to be revisited and renegotiated, or I would not sign a lifelong contract for anything. Like, that just doesn't, and it's nothing personal, but that doesn't make good sense to me.
We do it for everybody else.
What?
Yeah, we do it for everybody else.
Redo contracts.
We redo them.
Right.
We look through them, so.
Yeah, that's what it's what, 3 years with the fire department, every 3 years? Or 5 years?
With the district?
Between the district and the
I
city.
think there's
Okay, well, in any case,
Yeah,
there is a periodical review, let's look at this, what's
Oh,
working,
okay.
what isn't, you know what I'm
I understand
saying?
what you're saying now, but-
Back in 1978, when the last one,
Yeah,
that wasn't thought about.
right.
So, this new one,
And in my own
yeah,
defense,
that's not a
I was
problem.
not on the city council in 1978, so.
I mean,
Just this one has a 5-year term on it.
Okay, there you go.
That's what we did for
Is 5 years acceptable?
Well, yeah, well, the whole thing, you could turn over and we could turn over, so it don't,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's a good idea, like I said, I agree with you, cause then we know this, my kid that don't know anything about it, that takes my place,
Right.
but, oh, what, what's this?
It's on the same page, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, though, are you guys interested in the township just having all of the property?
That, we were willing to accept it if you had to, we just wanna know what.
and it would be the township cemetery, the Scott Township.
Then we'd have to, yeah, we just need to have, we don't get our money ask for money till January, so we'd have to be able to finance it till then, so.
And you would have to fill your obligation up to the point of when you decide to stop.
Would that be your preference?
Well, it'd make our lives easier, but I don't know, it's up to you guys, I don't care.
If that's your preference,
I
I think we could probably surrender our right to the land. Yes, but it's honestly, we want to work together though, if that's not your preference. You know what I mean?
we don't care, we're just like the control board ran out of money this year, so. And the trustees have had to pay in extra, so.
So where's the council sit?
If it's the preference of the cemetery board to take over the cemetery,
Then we'll just surrender our right to.
I think that's the simple answer to, right?
That is up to you.
And then
If you want input, then we can make an agreement, it doesn't matter. But if this severs, that means you pay the back what you owe, and then the box grader will have to figure that out
Yeah.
to come and get it and find a place for it.
Or whatever.
Or
So
whatever.
we bought it,
Yeah.
and then let you guys use it, so.
Yeah.
And that was our agreement.
If you guys take over the cemetery, and just to make sure there's no confusion, you guys take it over completely, then there's no 2080 agreement, and the city's not giving the cemetery money?
Correct.
As of
We'd have to.
when it's
pay
done,
that.
but.
When we have to formally dissolve our
Yes.
old.
And I guess
Yeah.
on snow removal, would
I
you
would
be
still-
willing to pay us, or we pay you to remove snow if we have to, or whatever
I
it
don't think
takes?
anybody from this town is gonna,
Okay. Well, it don't happen that often, but yeah, so.
they're, yeah, I'd hate to.
We'll
see
work
some
together on
elderly
that.
woman go out there
Yeah.
and see her husband's grave and get
Mhm.
stuck, and
Okay.
nobody's gonna fault me for that. I was just listening to the conversation, and beginning to feel like you thought there was still gonna be a 2080 agreement, even though we weren't gonna have ownership, and I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that
Well, it sounds like make your life a lot easier.
from the county standpoint.
Yeah.
From a reviewer perspective, it does, yeah. So we would just move forward with whatever documentation we need to do to quitclaim deed the ground to whether, you know, the township,
Well, yeah, we'll have to figure out how to.
how you wanna take title to it.
Well, and how the control board, cause then that's gonna dissolve, so we'd have to
Do the
Control board would
township,
have
town,
to
we just go
own
back
that
to the
parcel as
township.
well.
switch that over to
Yeah.
you guys' name or whatever.
Mhm.
I agree with, you know, I think the city's liable for what back, we've been kind of trying to figure out how to document all this stuff. We'll just probably fall on a sword for one last disbursement, and the viewer's not gonna be happy about it, but we'll have to figure out what we have to do on that part.
I think-
As soon as he finds out that we own part of it.
I think that was what he wrote in here though, like they wrote that in there, about the fact that.
Well, that's the attorney, I think they're talking about the auditor.
Oh.
A different person, you know.
If the auditor knew that we owned, we probably
Probably wouldn't have put us
That would've been
question.
different.
Yeah, let's think.
Right.
He would have questioned why we own property not in the city limits.
And that's what we all,
True.
we all.
Probably.
That's why, as soon as we found out we owned it, we're like, how do we own
Property
property
outside our-
outside the city limits? But
Yep.
I do know Brent is looking at, the city attorney, the word they're dealing with this, is also looking at the past payments and the agreement.
Mhm.
So I do know that that's still in question, but as to the amount,
It shouldn't be a question. You were still held up with the old agreement.
Well, he's saying once we started, we came and asked for the new agreement to be started and to be worked on, that's okay, I don't know what exactly he's coming up with, he's going to tell us. But the question is, from the time that we've asked everybody to get this agreement done till now, is that old agreement still in place? Also, we weren't following that old agreement, so is that old agreement even in place? He's looking at all of that, I don't know the legal stand-ins, I'm not saying yes or no, I'm telling you that he's looking at that side of it.
Oh, yeah.
The county attorney and your city attorney said the agreement is still in place until it's been replaced. And it hadn't been replaced
We
yet.
haven't heard that from our attorney.
Oh, okay, well,
So,
I'll forward you the email from them then. Cause they're doing the title search and Steve said in the meantime, the old agreement is still in place.
Since there's never been anything to replace it.
yeah, no, I understand, I'm telling you, our attorney. is
And you've
going to
never-
look into
You
it.
never officially ended it.
Correct, but like I said, there's other factors into that also, so he's looking into those.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we know what we possibly have to pay them?
Would be the 9,000 from last year and 4,500 for this July, right now.
Okay. So yes, we'll wait to get the official feedback on what legally the city has to do, and then that'll definitely be an item for us to
Okay.
set up, on our next meeting. We'll also, do you want to start the process, Angie, on what we need to do to release ownership?
I think Brent will be able to tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go under the assumption you would want it under the Scott Township,
I would think so too.
unless you tell us something differently.
If you find something out that it needs to be in
Yeah.
some.
There was some writing that we're in the agreement.
We, and I'm just gonna say it out loud, we'll continue to support the snow removal like
Okay.
you said,
Well,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah. I think you understand that, but I want you to truly understand that, okay? Okay, anything else on that topic?
And as long as everybody's happy with it, I'd say it's.
Well, at least we know now.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
And we didn't know.
So, okay, thank you for the conversation.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is wastewater treatment plant, EPA funding, SRF funding.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't feel like you have to stay.
Okay, so I asked to have this put on the agenda, over the past week or so, I've had a couple conversations with our contractor and our engineers, and, obviously, we've been waiting for, $1 million to come through,
Yeah.
and that's been hanging out there. But at the same time, people aren't getting paid.
Yep.
Although it's nothing mission critical at this point, but if they're coming and talking to me, then they're starting to feel the itch, I guess, feel the pain. So, there was some cost overruns on HR Green side for inspection, but that all gets billed back to Boomerang, but Boomerang's not gonna pay them until we pay. And they haven't even submitted it to Boomerang because they know the money's not there. So, I've been kind of struggling with this in my head, how to move forward. I wanted to just bring it to the council. My thought process was, in previous discussions, we talked about what the $1 million would save us on the wastewater could possibly roll over to the water side to help us get back in the black on the water. So from a community standpoint, potentially, it's zero gain either way, right? It's still the same cost to every household, basically. So the question is should we ask what the roadmap is? We know that the water plant is in bad shape, you've heard me talk about it, so maybe the $1 million should be applied there and go ahead and borrow the SRF, because if we would follow the roadmap that was laid out for the $1 million, we would get it. The $1 million came after we started the wastewater project, and some of the stuff that we have had to apply for waivers, we didn't really need to, that kind of muddied up the water, which is holding up that $1 million. Whether that waiver ends up going through and we get the money, I don't know how long all that's gonna take, I guess. And so we need to pay our bills, but if we pay them, then we can't use the $1 million to pay the loan back. So the question is, how long do we drag on not doing anything? The $1 million is there for perpetuity. We can apply it to any project down the road.
Can we? Can we apply it to anything, or did we specifically ask for it for this?
We asked for it for this
project.
but it doesn't have to go, from what my understanding is.
My concern is, our understanding was we already had a waiver too.
Yes.
And,
So,
that's
but that was in that, from the engineers and from the Southeast Iowa Planning, Brittany, her name?
Yeah, but I don't.
They were the ones that assured us that it was there. If it
That would
would
make me nervous.
Yes, it does, but it wouldn't. All I'm saying is, should we investigate going that route? Not that we're making any decisions to do anything, but there has to be a roadmap that's laid out how to spend that, how you get it and how you apply it.
Right,
But we haven't ever looked at that.
right.
And my last communication was with Marinette Miller Meek's office, her director, John Kaufman, and that was on September 17th. And his report to me was a little lengthy. I'm just gonna kind of sum up the gist of it in the last sentence was Iowa and EPA are currently working to identify an alternate approach to resolve this issue. It had to do where the EPA had authority to give a waiver on fiscal year ending 22 and fiscal year ending 23. They didn't for fiscal year 2024, which that is what our appropriations was in for a bill. So I think before we spend any more money, I probably need to follow up again with John. It's been 3 weeks since I've heard any sort of feedback from him, and just include John, include Brittany, include anyone from the Iowa DNR or the EPA, and just say we have bills that we can't pay, we're not paying right now. Can you please provide a update as soon as possible on the course of action? Because I understand what you're saying, JR, I respect it, but I'm also really hesitant, like you are, of losing it, and yeah.
I understand. I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, I do agree with you, but
Investigating's not gonna hurt anything.
that's all I was asked some questions.
Right.
What if?
What if this happens,
And
right?
not go any further than Southeast Iowa planning, because Brittany probably could answer those kind of questions.
How about I'll send out another email communication at least as a minimum before we do anything. I guess I just feel a little bit better.
When I got the communication or, conversations, obviously I didn't have a lot of feedback,
Yeah.
other than we were waiting.
Yeah.
And so obviously the punch list isn't getting done.
No.
They're not wanting to put any more time or labor in down there.
And I might not get any headway with a government shutdown right now anyways, it is a downfall. You know what I mean? I might wanna wait until we actually have a government up and running.
Yeah.
So
But
that's maybe the
the
route.
EPA probably doesn't take any time off. Doesn't seem like it. But I just wanted to throw it out there, plant a seed, and let you know what I'm hearing.
Yeah, or at least they can give us what options we have available, is maybe how I'll approach it, So, is that okay with everyone?
So the one pay application that we are holding on to for Boomerang is around 14,000.
14?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But we do also have issues with things not functioning the way they were
Correct.
designed.
Correct, the blowers, and
And I check off.
nobody's been able to get a hold of them, but they happen to call me because they have to teach me how to do a step feed for leading into the winter time, and so I took the opportunity to ask some questions. So now I have an email contact that I can go back and forth with.
Okay.
On that wastewater piece, our electric bill steadily been climbing, got very high. EPO found an inverter bad in the new box out there, and it's under warranty. They've talked to the manufacturer, and it's ordered, when it'll be here.
It'll be interesting to see how that
Yes,
affects
that's
things.
what I'm
Yeah.
looking.
Okay. Thanks for following up on that. Okay. Any other discussion on that topic? All right, next up is ordinance 363. 363 is no parking along the south side of the road of 120th Street. That's at the baseball, softball, Little League Commons area. That road, when cars are parked on both sides, if you remember, serves you right, it's just really hard to get. It's a one-way
Especially
street.
pull out
Yeah.
of the diamonds.
Yes,
Right there,
it's
so.
tighter than the heck. The county basically owns the north side of the road, so the only thing we can do is prevent parking on ours unless we approach them to do something. So that's what this ordinance is to, put no parking along the south side of the road, which would go from the alley basically at that parking lot that we have to the,
I
end of
didn't
the
know
fence.
how, yeah, I didn't
And
know
I think-
how to word that, so.
I think that was great
Okay.
wording on it.
The only thing I was thinking is, obviously, since I drive down that road every single day, once we put signs up, we do have Carl Davis that comes and mows that ditch.
Mm.
So I don't know, there's no poles in there in his way right now, so I don't know like what, if that'll, be an issue for him mowing.
He'd have to, it's just swing it up, out and go back in is what he's gonna have to do.
Yeah, but then I don't know, like, will we go in and weed eat like around the holes, or would we, okay.
Put that in our mowing agreement.
I've had multiple requests to put culverts in there, fill it in for parking.
Were you on the council when we talked about that, when they were wanting?
But it was an issue with the water, right?
He wasn't
I wasn't
here.
There was a
So
huge
see what I
issue
can
with the
find.
way it flows.
And I thought it was the county engineer that was the one that was wanting us not,
Right,
Right,
even though it's not county property.
right.
I think we had, that's what I remember was getting feedback that
That was
was
a
from.
horrible idea for drainage.
Yeah.
Right. Is what I thought.
You just need to buy somebody's property and turn it into a parking lot.
We can't, it's not in the city limits. Oh, wait, we can own property outside. Hold on, no, I'm just kidding. I
So,
so moved.
anyway, yeah, this would be the first reading of that ordinance. That's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Brandy. You need roll call? Sure. Okay, Brandy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
that one passes. And,
I would recommend just, since it's not a rush,
to
to.
do a two or second reading, yeah, there's no need to push this one through, so, okay. All right, stop signs at intersections is the next item.
Oh, that was me.
Good. I saw it on Facebook. That's one.
I I asked for it to be put on here just because first off, I drive that almost every day after I drop Allie off at school. But there was a parent that posted, about a very close call with a middle-aged schoolboy that was riding his bike south on Clark Street at the intersection of Clark and Elm down here. There is a yield sign, but they were asking for stop signs. I lived on that street, so it's probably not a horrible idea. I just didn't know what everybody else thought. I just think it is very dangerous because the student drivers, like, I see, they don't even yield, like, they just go. So that's been I see that every morning. But when somebody is posting about the fact that they're, almost hitting children, comes to, we need to do something.
So I'm gonna go back in the day, there was no yield signs. We put yield signs in while I was on the council, so not that long ago. The yield signs went in north and south, which makes a little bit of sense because everybody, all years I've ever lived here, going east and west, there's that huge bump.
Yes.
Everybody slows down for, so you're automatically yielding east and west, so then it kind of made it kind of a four-way yield, basically. But the people on Clark Street don't remember the yield, especially if you lived here forever, because even now, that's not usually where they yielded. So I was with you. My suggestion was to take the yield signs down and put 2 stop signs up on Elm.
East and west.
On Elm, on east and west, not on Clark, because Clark's got a stop sign at the very end of the road by the parking lot, then it's got one right at the school, then it's got another one 2 blocks up, and then another one at the end of that block, so it's got plenty. Elm has 1 stop sign, well 2 if you count Main Street. So it's got Main Street, and then it's got the one by the funeral home.
Yep.
Other than that, Elm is a straight shot.
You don't have to stop.
No, so that's why I would suggest putting the stop signs opposite and just take the yield signs down, let Clark.
Put speed bumps in.
You could do that too.
I mean, there is a sign on Clark Street for the blind child sign too,
Yeah.
so I think that would probably be best, that was what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Is if you put them on Elm, then I think they would have a better chance of
Yeah.
them paying attention.
I mean, I basically stopped at that,
I stopped.
going
Yeah.
to my house, well, no, going each way, cause
You have, it's
You
literally,
bought it out.
it's kinda like the church over there.
yeah, not quite as bad, but yes.
We had someone also raise up South Olive in it
Yeah,
as well.
I was gonna say, at the funeral home, wanting a 4-way stop there, which there's already a stop sign on Elm.
Yeah.
But they're wanting it because otherwise there's not another stop sign until you get to Pearl. So there's not one at the fire
At Beard's
station.
Corner.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other end of Beard's Corner, yeah.
And honestly, probably not a bad idea either, because that's a lot of
School.
the kids are coming that way, so.
That's a lot of walking too, right there, crossing.
Oh, they like to go to Casey's in the
What do
morning.
you think?
For sure, I agree with both actually.
I just didn't know what it takes to do that.
We have to
Just
do
by
an ordinance,
Oh, yeah.
so I can have one at next meeting and.
Yep.
So you think that both those two intersections?
Let's put them both in there.
So.
Might as well, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Well, it's really hard also because if you look at it, like, people are parking on the street, so then it's super hard for other people to see when they wanna turn anyways or go. So it would be better for the stop signs.
Let's help people out.
So stop sign on Elm Street at Clark.
Yeah,
The
both
stop
sides.
signs are on Elm Street.
Yes.
And then change this one to a four-way.
And so follow it out, yep.
at all.
And I wouldn't be opposed to taking the yield signs out on Clark if we put the two stop signs on Elm.
They're still gonna go through it. I mean, they're not,
There's no need to yield if there's a stop.
Right.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so we can maybe use those another time when we find another road that needs it.
And we've added signs in this town, that's for sure.
Yes, we have. Pretty soon it's gonna be you're stopping at 3 corners.
Well, and that's what we were trying to avoid.
We were, and that's,
When
when I was thinking about Elm, I was like, I even said to Greg, like, that's a straight shot except for Main Street, but then I remembered the one right there, but again, all it is the road people walk to go to school. Even if you live on a different block, most of them head up to Elm, or Olive to get to.
Yep.
To the school, so.
so I think.
Just the post for the sign is $50. $50 a piece.
For safety.
Just pull that post out from the yield sign.
That's
Yeah.
what I say.
Can we just use
Pull
those?
out?
Can we just use
Yes.
those?
Okay,
Okay, perfect.
But I just
Well,
say,
say we do $100.
when you drive, this, kind of JR's world, when you drive around and you look at all these signs, and
You're thinking dollar sign,
yes,
50, $50, jeez.
just for the post, then you have that sign.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a stretch track. It's still solid.
Okay. Anything else on stop signs?
Do you have any that you're thinking about?
No, that's South Alabama, that's the one I've been thinking about a lot actually.
Perfect.
Alright, next up is mowing bid expectations. We got a one-pager in our packet.
So the top part is all the current areas that are mowed. Well, we did add at the end, the west side of the pharmacy, so behind the pharmacy, and then around the future library. The only thing I question is where the fourth, fifth one down, the trailer park area and Oak Street right away. So I did talk to Mitch. He said when he first got the contract, he did mow those areas, but since then, they're always mowed whenever he goes. So the one at the trailer park is that north driveway, and then it would butt up to Giesel's property. And our thinking is too, everybody else is responsible for mowing their right of way, so why shouldn't
So,
they?
I was gonna say, so the gravel road that takes you back to the trailer, the back
Yeah,
trailers?
so along, along that north side,
Okay,
because the trailer park people mow their side, but going along that north side along Gabe's fence
Fence.
line, the city used to mow that all the way back, and then it would go north along, cause there's a city right of way that goes on the east side of those what would be Steiner apartments.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was always in the mowing contract to do, go
like a strip.
east and then go. But like Mitch said, those have always been mowed and,
People
again,
been mowing them.
people, abutting property owners are responsible for their
For their
right of way.
Yeah.
So I thought, I left it in there, but I wanted to bring our attention to it, stuff, if we just take that out. And if it becomes a problem, then,
Revisit.
we can revisit it, but obviously it's being taken care of without it being in our mowing.
Right,
Yeah, I'd take it out.
yeah. I agree.
Otherwise, me and Jared kinda went through the list and, that's pretty much everything. Then, the next section, the trimming, that was always in there. It did say, I think, twice a month, but we changed that to every other mowing.
Okay.
Cause we didn't wanna have it every other twice a month when there's months that
We
might
need
only mow 3 times or,
Or
whatever.
Yep.
So, and then obviously might be required as needed. Includes all fence lines, buildings, and then except the fence lines at the lagoons. And then we added all clippings to be removed from the sidewalk, concrete in and around the mowed area. Trash must be removed in the areas to be mowed, and then their insurance and stuff. One thing JR wanted to kind of talk about was spraying, because in the past we've sprayed along the fence lines at the commons, however, when weeds start growing up, it's always been just left because the contractor just assumed, well, you sprayed it, so I don't have to deal with it, but.
Tried to get around that this year, right, okay, we're gonna spray it, but if the weeds come up, you're gonna have to, it never happened.
Right.
So, I understand that it really tears up your weed eater and the string to do that. I don't mind spraying it, don't get me wrong, but if there's no follow-up from the contractor,
Right,
then I'd rather just
yeah,
deal with it. But
right.
I'm not that kind of guy, I'm not afraid to go out there and spray it, it's just.
And this is ball, like the fence.
The main, the ball field is the only issue, yeah.
See, and back, Kimbrough used to volunteer,
But they only did the infield, they never did along the fence line.
Okay, gotcha.
They only did the infield.
I was, okay, and the dugouts, right?
Maybe, yeah, okay, probably.
But that water heat has just gotten, you just can't hardly kill it anymore.
No.
It's got resistance to about anything. And so, even, we tried everything this year. We were able to knock it down here late in the year, but we used 2 times the rate.
Mhm.
And that's like chemicals, it's.
So you would want a line in here, JR, just saying areas to be mowed,
Oh,
even if spraying is.
And my trust is
Yeah.
wavering.
well, either that or, you know, the city will spray the commons fence line at the beginning of the season, but you're responsible if any weeds start to grow.
Yeah.
Do you think the spraying is effective at all though? Or is that?
Yeah,
because
It's killed everything but that.
But that one.
But that one, okay, so it's worth spraying to begin with?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha, I just want to make sure. So yeah, I mean, I'm good with.
Yeah, that's fine, add that
Do you
city
think you
will.
would do it like twice a year?
We
Like-
did it twice this year, but the second time we did it, actually we did it 3 times. The second time we did it, it knocked it down, and the third time we definitely dose. It killed them, but they were already 3 foot tall by then.
Would you rather have them do the spraying? If
Then
that's
they
part
have
of
to have a
that,
license.
Yeah,
Not
that's-
very
Not all of
have
them have
license to spray.
licenses to spray.
It's a whole different, you have to go through a whole different set of testing and rules and.
They gotta be licensed.
so none of them are that we,
Well, you don't know.
I think Isaac might have been trying to get it, and I think Hinkle was thinking about it, or he's been working on it, but I don't think any of them have it.
okay.
I
As
think
far as-
Buffington's,
Buffington.
They do.
Yeah, they do have theirs,
Yeah.
yeah.
but yeah, it's not a requirement, like to have a loan. So,
So
you want
sure
to
if
have-
those,
have-
I'm pretty sure.
if those had it, no, I'm sure they don't.
so are you guys fine with me and Jared adding verbiage in?
Yeah.
We'll spray, but if weeds start coming up.
Yes,
here, so-
yep.
And then are we just gonna use a Facebook post to request this, to get word out, or? How many roles
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I can put it in the paper too. It doesn't do, I feel like it doesn't do.
Yeah, I think let's use Facebook and then try to use word of mouth
Yeah.
as a,
Well,
And
As a
then I usually
concept,
post
too.
it at like the post office, the banks. and-
I've talked to both Isaac and Hinkles just to go ahead and throw in their
Yep.
bids and told them kind of what the situation was. As
Yep.
far as us still looking at mower prices, so just knowing that might not be.
One thing we talked about too was because they trim every other, do we have a bid for them? This is your bid when you just mow, this is your bid when you
Trim.
trim.
They should be able to price it accordingly.
I
Yeah, I
think,
bet they
Like
would
just
price
price
it,
it
they would
so-
price
okay.
it with that in,
People
No,
can do it in
we-
the long
just,
run.
yeah,
yeah, I think they would, I think.
Okay.
I would say, and also just add, the city reserves the right to reject any and all bids. just in case we feel we just wanna do it ourselves, you know?
Okay.
Okay? Anything else on that topic? Next item is the pool pass pricing,
So
Christmas
current,
certificates.
yeah, so currently we do, it's been $75 for individual, $150 for family. We did talk about, like, just in the office, talking about like trying to get more members and stuff like that. To where the biggest issue is, like a grandparent will want to buy a pass, family pass for a family, but then paying another 75 for an individual. So we thought about, or like a babysitter or whatever, to do it where if you do buy a family pass, you can get a connected individual pass for it at a discount.
Like 50.
Like 50, yeah. That was something we thought about doing, because it is, a lot of times it is like the grandparents that will buy the gift for, and
Jeannie's usually the first one. My mom.
So, I don't know, that was just something we kinda threw out there. I mean, it's not gonna affect a lot of people, but I think it might help a little bit for memberships, so.
$25 is not, or $20, whatever it is, yeah.
Go from
So,
75 to 50 if you want to add to your family pass.
Yep.
One person.
Yeah,
One.
I don't wanna say adult, cause if we do let them do
Let
like
it do childcare or
one
whatever.
individual pass, yep, from now to
But
year
then
end.
it's not 50, like they can't add
multiple
multiple
ones for
people.
50, just one.
And this is just a Christmas special.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what we were thinking, till these are through the end of the year.
Let's
Yeah.
go from now till year end.
Okay.
Do you wanna?
Are you fine still with the rates being 75 and 150?
Do you think we need to increase it?
I think we readjust that with
In
the
the
whole new season.
Okay.
Or the new season?
But,
Yeah.
I like just keeping it consistent
Okay.
between now and year end, like what we've
Yeah.
done. You need a motion?
No, that's fine.
Alright, any old business?
I just wanted to report that, Friday there should be done on the house on East Edge.
Okay.
If things don't fall apart for me. I'll be so sad to see it go.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anything else?
I just wanted, everything going okay with the, four-wheeler thing that we did?
Yeah, I was gonna mention that until we spaced it out, but.
That's okay.
Yes, I have stopped several kids, and just let them know, and for the most part, I haven't seen any of them that I've talked
I
to.
haven't heard any, that's why I was
So,
asking, so I wondered if you were doing
I
it.
saw you at a house with a bunch of them out in the back, and I was like, he
Yeah.
just killed 300 birds with one stone.
And there's been a handful of side-by-sides and four-wheelers that were not registered. I helped, I think, 3 people, at least got the paperwork to where they can go register it now, so
Good job.
that's kinda coming up too.
Alright.
Good. And you said the nuisance conversations have been going
Yeah,
pretty good?
I needed to talk to you after this probably about demo and getting some houses out. There's a couple elderly people that want them demoed and out, but they have no idea and they don't have a lot of funds. But they said that they're more than willing to look to see what the price would be to get them out of there. So it might be,
I think you must have talked to, the folks with the greenhouse down on East Pine on the south side of.
By
yeah,
the Methodist Church,
They called me.
okay, yeah.
Was that one on my list? Yeah, that was one on my list.
Oh, yeah.
But the windows are boarded up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the one trailer that's over there next to immense, I talked to him out there and he's also wanting that.
No.
Really?
Now, he did say that he's got some things in there that he'd like to be,
Jared
He said-
tried buying it a few years ago.
Last
Or
year.
last year.
Last year, I went out there, I went and looked at it,
yeah,
did research, I went out to give him a price, nope, not selling it.
Try again.
Change my mind, the cop showed up.
Yeah. Cop showed up. The price got cheaper, didn't it?
But he did mention that he'd like to keep the sheds that are in the back or something.
Yeah.
I think he'd like to keep those.
So he doesn't wanna sell the property, he just wants the trailer gone.
Right.
Sure, that's much better shape.
But
Not interested in that one.
he just needs to
Hey,
be the.
we can get it out of there, then, why don't we?
Yeah.
That would at least look a little
Is he
better.
willing to enjoy it?
That's what I'm
Well,
about.
yeah.
Beautification.
One property at a time, right?
I'm working on it, yeah, working on it.
The lady is purchasing a house.
I don't want to get it right, I'm hoping for you.
The trailer was gone.
Good, perfect.
They want to sell a lot.
You aren't know.
We can probably figure that out.
Okay, any other items for old business discussion?
Real briefly, especially since there's not a ton of people here, the cat numbers are growing again, so do we need to have a list of nuisance properties that get the knock and talk of like, hey, come on, here's
They're
the
still-
ordinance.
you got
Do I get to ride around
Feeding
with
them.
Scott?
They're still feeding them.
I mean, I'm fine with whatever, and I'm not trying to, make anybody's life difficult, but
Well, you brought up the cat.
here's the thing, is there's measurable amounts of feces in my parking lot and at my house, and I don't own any cats. So, in the interest of being neighborly,
Yes.
that was the whole point of the ordinance, was hey, like, just keep your stuff at your house, so.
So should you, like, in the point where like actually list people that we notice have a lot of them without collars and send them a letter? type
Whether
of
they
thing?
have collars or not
Well,
doesn't
they're-
matter,
yeah,
they're not
they're
supposed to be off the property.
That's what I'm saying, but you can't drive by their
But
property
if I- yeah,
and they
I mean,
have
if you-
collars on and we can't send them a letter. What I'm saying is, right,
If you see somebody
Maybe they
who
have an
for
underground.
sure is feeding, like you can just tell that they're feeding,
Mhm.
just.
there was a picture.
Give him a
I'll
list.
Go back and look, 'cause
Okay.
it showed the
I
picture
mean,
of their stray
I'm
cats.
I'm trying to be a team player here,
Yeah,
as
no,
opposed to just,
Yeah.
Okay.
but.
I can tell you that the sheets that you gave me were spot on, cause I could just jot down notes on them too and.
Okay.
I like to be well organized.
Problem solved.
So, yeah.
And I can maybe print those out for your cats. There you go. I'll even draw a little cat.
Yeah, there's some cat four-wheeler crossover, so we can get really efficient here.
All right, any other old business? See, now moving on to mayor's comments. I'm gonna complete our performance reviews for both JR, Angie, and Scott all on Friday afternoon. So pick out some nice boxes. No, I'm just kidding. Get through that. Also, I had a meeting with the school and working on some things. How can we work together to promote Winfield, trying to bring people into our community, bring new families into our community.
Yeah, we have a lot of houses for sale.
So the school is going, I'm working with Mrs. Walls of trying to highlight one business a month and doing like a maybe little video with that business. So I got them a list of our businesses in town, and we're gonna try to do some form of working with the school. I'd like to get the kids involved to where they're part of it too, you know what I mean? But anyway, more to come on that to see what we can do just to share more about our community and get more interest in
They could
the city of
have-
Winfield.
Each, like an organization, like the band, go play in front of one of the businesses when they do their little video, and then like do the cheerleaders in front of another business. when
We
they
don't
do
have
cheerleaders. Okay,
We
I was
barely
just-
have, we barely have a
just the football players,
We need a
basketball
cheerleader.
players.
We need cheerleading.
So,
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
but,
that'd be a good way to get the kids involved.
So anyway, more to come on that hopefully, and that's a new development. That's all I have. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carried. 6:18.
Thank you to the Winfield, Iowa City Council. Thank you to all of you watching. Make sure to give this episode a like and follow and subscribe. It's free. And I need to thank my sponsors, Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Your Choice Family Restaurant, Girling Repair, B&B Propane, and the family of Jet Stops. CW Tree Trimming, LLC, Dutch Market, and Coffee Talk. I'm your host, John Bain. Go to these city council meetings and stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.